Okay, so for this first video, we're just gonna be comfortable, seated or lying down, any way that you wanna be. I'm sitting on a block like this just because it feels better in my knee right now that's a little bit angry. And so you do the same thing, just get comfortable, whether you're using props or if you want to just lie down. We're just gonna take this whole 20 minutes-ish to practice really like presencing ourselves in our bodies, a little bit of connecting to breath, and just kind of getting to know that part of yoga, the part of yoga that is more focused on presence and mindfulness and breath. And then in the next one, we'll move into more of the asana part of yoga, the movement. So just get comfortable. And then once you get comfortable, wherever you are, whatever place or situation you find yourself in right now, might affect how you feel about really dropping in and, practicing mindfulness. So if you're in a place where there's a lot of chaos, there's a lot going on, it might be a little bit trickier. You might want to find a quieter place where you will have less distractions around you. And then just get comfortable in your body. You can close your eyes or just soften your gaze. But that's just letting go of the sense of sight for a few minutes, and it just makes it easier to have a more inward experience, which is what we're going to go for the next little bit. So arriving in a comfortable shape, and then closing your eyes or softening your gaze. And then maybe just taking a couple of breaths just to begin to presence yourself in your body. And as we begin this first practice, just know that I really encourage and invite everyone who is participating in this to really try to see what it feels like to take care of yourself, to honor yourself, to do what it is that you need. So I come here with these ideas, with these options, but everything that I offer is a choice, and you really get to have this opportunity to be like, wow, that doesn't feel good in my body, or that makes me feel really uncomfortable. And then you get to explore what that means for you. And maybe that means that you don't do it, or maybe that means that you change it a little bit to make it more comfortable. Or maybe that means that you get to explore why it's making you uncomfortable. But just knowing that you really get to use this time to create a safe space for yourself. And you get to use this time to say, what do I need? How can I honor myself, my practice? Instead of how can I show up and look exactly like Amanda, or how can I show up and try to be, this exact yogi? And instead really try to honor yourself. What do I need? How can I be there for me for this next 20 minutes or so? So with that in mind, as you close your eyes and soften your gaze and just begin to notice your breath, just begin to notice how you feel in your body. Maybe asking yourself the question, what does it feel like to be in my body right now? This very moment in the space that I'm in. What does it feel like to be in my body? And then just begin to notice. And for everyone practicing, we're all going to be in different places physically. We're going to be in different places in our practices. And so for anyone who is new to yoga, who's new to mindfulness, who's new to trying to become present in your body, it can sometimes feel really difficult and almost impossible. Like, I don't know what that means. I don't know what that feels like. I feel overwhelmed now. So just trying to let any of those thoughts go. And we're going to remind ourselves throughout practice, we don't need to have an expectation about what this is going to feel like or what this is going to look like. We don't need to have judgments towards ourselves if we're doing it right or wrong. There isn't a right or wrong way. And so if you begin to settle into your body, you begin to try to presence yourself, noticing how I feel in my body, and it feels really difficult and it feels really overwhelming, I encourage you to start small. So if that is your experience right now, when I encourage you to feel your body, maybe just focus on something really small. Maybe just focus on your right hand. So as I say, what does it feel like to be in my body? And that might feel overwhelming. Then instead just ask yourself, what does it feel like to be in my right hand? And focus all your awareness into your right hand and just start in that smaller space, something that might feel easier. And then from there, once that becomes more natural, more easy, and you begin to understand that sensation, that experience of presence in the hand, you might be able to then let it, move throughout the body and experience it more fully, and maybe not, and maybe today it's just the hand, and that's okay. Wherever you are, whatever this experience is like for you, just trying to notice your body, just trying to notice sensations happening in your body. How do I feel? What do I notice? Do I notice places that feel tight or tense? And you're just bringing your mental awareness to those places, just focusing on and noticing maybe where I feel more relaxed, maybe where I feel more open. And maybe there's places in your body where there's no sensation at all. There's maybe a sense of numbness. I feel nothing. And we're just noticing those things. We're just noticing what our body feels like. And it might feel good to scan the body, starting at the top of the head, and then just beginning to move down. And you can even imagine it like someone's pouring water into the top of your head, and you're just watching and following that water slowly begin to move down the body. And as you follow that, or it could be a light, it could be a color, as you're following that down the body, you notice how it feels. Each place that light or water or color touches, you notice how you feel in that part of your body. So you can scan your body in that way, moving down into your shoulders, down into the arms and the hands, fingers, and then through the face and the neck, down into the chest and the back, the pelvis area, into the legs, and all the way down into the feet and toes. And again, we're just noticing, we're being curious, kind of like an observer, somebody who's witnessing this experience. We're noticing and we're watching and we're feeling with just an openness, a curiosity, and hopefully with a sense of compassion and kindness towards self. So just continue to notice the body. Notice how you feel in the body. Notice the way it feels to have the body resting on the ground beneath you. So whatever part of your body is touching the ground, notice that sensation, that connection, and how it feels. And just continuing to notice, how do I feel in my body? What is this experience like in this moment? And then with that, always an option to just stay here if you're really enjoying this experience. It's feeling very pleasurable or very curious, and you're enjoying the experience of being with the physical body. Just stay right here and continue to notice. If you want to move in a little bit more inward, a little bit deeper into where you are, we can move now into the emotional body. And if that for any reason doesn't feel safe or doesn't seem like a good idea for you today, you can stay with physical sensation, or you can move past this part, just ignore this next part, and begin to notice your breath. But if it feels like something you'd like to try, and you're curious about connecting to the emotional body, you can continue to keep the eyes closed or the gaze soft. And then bringing your awareness from your physical body, begin to just notice, are there any emotions present for me right now? And then just notice. What emotions do I notice? And as you begin to connect to those emotions that are present, notice if there's one that feels like it's the strongest or the one that you feel the most, maybe the one that's asking for your attention the most. But trying to focus on just one emotion for a couple of minutes. So bring your awareness to whatever that emotion might be. Whether it be the one that feels the safest to go towards, or it feels like it's the one that's the strongest, the most intense, you're feeling it the most. And then bring your awareness there. And you might begin to notice the mind is trying to attach a story to the emotion. The mind wants to explain why or how. Where did this emotion come from? What's the story? And for this practice, we're just going to let that story go. We're just going to let it pass by. No, we can come back to that story. We can come back to those thoughts. And instead, bringing your awareness to how the emotion feels in your body. So we can carry and feel our emotions in lots of places in our body. Some common places might be in the temples or the jaw. Maybe you carry your emotions in your shoulders, your heart space, your belly. Maybe it's in your hips, your pelvis, maybe your hands. Maybe there's some tense hands or tightness in your hands where you might feel an emotion that's hard. So just trying to focus in and notice, where do I feel this emotion the most in my body? And maybe if you can focus in and notice that space, you can bring a hand or both of your hands to that place. So for me right now, I'm feeling my emotions in my heart space, and that's often where I feel them the most. And for everyone, it's going to be different. So just bringing your hands to that place if you'd like, or you can just focus your awareness there and leave your hands wherever they are. And then just begin to focus on the sensation. How does it feel? What is the experience like when I give this emotion permission to be felt? And just notice what happens. And again, as you come to this experience, coming with an open mind, a sense of curiosity, letting go of judgment, letting go of expectation. It doesn't have to be a certain way. It's not a right or wrong way to experience this, but we're just being curious. How does this emotion feel in my body right now? What do I notice? And with your hand or your awareness on that space where you're feeling the emotion the most, just begin to bring your breath there as well. And just use the breath, a few rounds of breath, really focusing into that sensation. Really giving yourself permission for a moment to just feel. And knowing if it gets too overwhelming, you can step away from it. You can move on. You can go connect to the breath. Leave the emotion behind. You can always come back to it another time. It doesn't have to be right now. You don't have to sit with the emotion. But if it continues to feel safe, just a few more rounds of breath right here. And whenever that emotion feels like you're ready to move on from it, or at least for this moment, you're ready to move past it, just begin to bring your awareness just to your breath. You can let the hands drop away, maybe resting on the ground or on your body somewhere. And then just begin to notice the breath. Just like we did when we noticed the body, how did we feel in the body? Just begin to notice how it feels to breathe. You might notice the temperature of the air as it enters the nostrils. Maybe you notice the sensation of the air moving into the back of the throat and down into the lungs, and then you feel the sensation as your lungs fill up. Expansion, the movement, the chest is rising, then it's falling with the exhale. You can feel the breath move into the back of the throat and out of the nose or the mouth. And just noticing the sensations with the breath. And then just becoming a little bit more comfortable with and familiar with the sensation of breathing. And knowing that you can stay right here just with breath awareness, if that's where you feel most comfortable right now. If you'd like to, I'll just take us through a really simple and easy and beautiful breathing exercise. I like to teach this one especially to people who are coming to my classes for the first time, because it's such an easy one to remember, and it's such an easy one to use in any time in life, in any moment. You feel overwhelmed, you feel anxious, you feel like at bedtime when you're having a hard time calming down for the night, coming out of the mind and into the body and becoming into a place of rest. I teach it to my kids. It's just a really great practice. It's called square breathing, and it's easy to remember because it's just equal sides. You move around a square as you breathe. And so I recommend usually starting around 4 counts. So I'll take us through a few square breathings at 4 counts, and then I'll be quiet for a couple of minutes and we'll just breathe, everyone going to whatever length they would like their square breathing to be. But just exhale, empty the lungs to prepare. And then we're going to inhale for 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold the breath in for 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhaling for 1, 2, 3, 4. And then hold the breath out for 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. And hold out, 2, 3, 4. Continue that way, just around the square, counting your own breath. And if you feel like you want to lengthen it, maybe you want your square to be 5 counts or 6 counts, or maybe that felt like too much and you want to bring it down to 3. Just creating a square that feels good in your body. And if this breathing practice isn't something that's calling to you right now, feel free to move into any breathing practice that you enjoy. And we'll be here for about 2 minutes just with our breath. And as we're moving through this breathing practice, whether it be your own, whether you are using the square breathing or whether you're just noticing your breath, giving yourself permission to be aware of thoughts and then let the thoughts go. So each time you notice your thoughts, giving those thoughts permission to pass by as you bring your awareness back to your breath over and over and over again. It's called a breathing practice because we're just practicing. We're practicing this experience of focusing our mind, our awareness onto this one thing. For this, it's our breath. And so knowing that it's normal, my mind is going to wander. I'm going to go back to my thoughts over and over again. And the more often you use this practice, the more times you try different breath work or different mindfulness practices, the easier it becomes to let the thoughts go and to focus in on that one thing. So just knowing that it's normal, it's going to happen. I notice my thoughts, I let them go, I come back to my breath. I notice my thoughts, I let them go, I come back to my breath, just over and over again. About 1 more minute here. And the next time you come to an exhale, just allow the breath to come back to its natural rhythm, allowing the body to go back to breathing without thought. And then when you're ready, if your eyes are still closed, just blinking them back open. And then just noticing for a moment, just notice Notice how you feel in your body. Notice how you feel in your mind. Notice how you feel on an emotional level. And then just bringing one hand to the heart, the other hand on top. Lowering the chin slightly. Take a moment to give yourself some gratitude, some kind thoughts. Thank you for showing up here for me in this moment, self. Send some love, send some light. Beautiful. Thanks. Thanks for joining me.